Okay, Paul. Text 1.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do?
Heather, text 2.
You want to read the purports, or you're just reading translations?
Just the translations for now.
Okay. Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words.
Garrison?
O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada.
Chaitanya, are you ready?
Yes. Here in this army are many heroic bowmen, equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna, great fighters like Yuyudhana, Virata, and Drupad.
Eric?
There are also great heroic powerful warriors like Drishtaketu, Chaitanya, Kashiraja, Purujit, Kuntiboja, and Shaibya.
Matthew?
There are the mighty Yudhamanyu, the very powerful Uttamauja, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters.
And then back to Paul.
But for your information, O best of the Brahmins, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force.
And it'll be the same order. Heather, Garrison, Chaitanya, Eric, Matthew.
There are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashvatthama, Vikarna, and the son of Somadatta, called Vrishvarava, who are always victorious in battle.
There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science.
Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited.
Okay, back on text 9. Look at Duryodhana. Look what he says there. Read that one again. Is that Garrison?
There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science.
So he's saying, look at these people. They're ready to die for me. And Duryodhana is like, he thinks that's really cool. Arjun has a very different outlook at this. Just the thought of all of these people dying. He's like, this is wrong. But Duryodhana's like, look what I've got. I've got all of these people and they're ready to die. I always like to point out that one. Little character reference early on in the Gita. Okay, read yours again, Chaitanya.
We'll read text 10 again.
Yeah.
Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited.
All of you must now give full support to grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army.
Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy.
After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous.
On the other side, Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells.
Lord Krishna blew his conch shell, called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Pondra.
King Yudhisthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakula and Sahadev blew the Sugosha and Mani Pushpaka. That great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupad, the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells.
The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra.
Okay, let's pause there because some things happened. Who would like to recap what we just read? Anything at all.
Well, Sanjay is talking to Drita, telling the story of what's going on in the battlefield here, and different conch shells are being blown, and Father Bhishma blows his, our grandfather Bhishma blows his conch shell, which roars like a lion, and it pleases Duryodhana, but it actually we'll get into what it really does later. And then the others are blowing their conch shells, and the Pandus blow their conch shells, and they kind of rattle the bones of their enemies on the other side.
Yeah, their conch shell is described as transcendental. Arjun and Krishna's. Did it say anybody else's? I remember Divya. Transcendental conch shells. Both Lord Krishna and Arjun sounded their transcendental conch shells. Divyo Shanko Pradadmatu. And Prabhupada notes that in the purport that their conch shells are called transcendental, but the Kuru's conch shells weren't called that. And then you said that it shattered the hearts of the Kurus. The sound of Krishna's conch shell. So there was a premonition that they've got some power. Even though he had made this calculation, that was also what was going on. Calculating, here's the size of our army, the people we've got. There's the people that they've got, and yeah, we're gonna win. We got this. We're favored by bigger numbers. But then when the conch shells blew, there was a premonition. It's not going to go well. Hey, Trevor.
Haribol.
Haribol, are you going to read with us? You have a book ready?
Yeah, I have the database.
Okay, so I'll put you on the list. You'll be after Matthew.
Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you, Heather. So now we're moving into another bit of action. Text 20, whose turn is it? Who read that last?
I feel like Eric read last.
Yeah. At that time, Arjun, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjun then spoke to Lord Krishna these words.
Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms.
Let's go back and read this purport to 20. And we'll probably read the 21, 22 also. So go ahead, Paul. Purport to 20.
The battle was just about to begin. It is understood from the above statement that the sons of Dhritarashtra were more or less disheartened and by the unexpected arrangement of military force by the Pandavas, who were guided by the direct instructions of Lord Krishna on the battlefield.
Okay, so everybody take turns reading 2 sentences of purport. Same order. Go ahead, Heather.
The emblem of Hanuman on the flag of Arjuna is another sign of victory because Hanuman cooperated with Lord Ram in the battle between Ram and Ravana, and Lord Ram emerged victorious.
One more sentence. Go ahead.
Now both Ram and Hanuman were present on the chariot of Arjuna to help him.
Lord Krishna is Ram himself, and wherever Lord Rama is, his eternal servitor Hanuman and his eternal consort Sita, the goddess of fortune, are present. Therefore, Arjuna had no cause to fear any enemies whatsoever.
And above all, the Lord of the senses, Lord Krishna, was personally present to give him direction. Thus, all good counsel was available to Arjuna in the matter of executing the battle.
In such auspicious conditions arranged by the Lord for his eternal devotee lay the signs of assured victory.
And Eric, go ahead, read the next verse.
Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms.
And we'll read this. So go ahead, Matthew.
Although Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, out of his causeless mercy he was engaged in the service of his friend. He never fails in his affection for his devotees, and thus he is addressed herein as infallible.
As charioteer, he had to carry out the orders of Arjuna, and since he did not hesitate to do so, he is addressed as infallible. Although he had accepted the position of a charioteer for his devotee, his supreme position was not challenged.
In all circumstances, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hrishikesha, the Lord of the total senses. The relationship between the Lord and his servitor is very sweet and transcendental.
The servitor is always ready to render service to the Lord, and similarly, the Lord is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to the devotee.
Go ahead, Garrison.
He takes greater pleasure in his pure devotees assuming the advantageous position of ordering him than he does in being the giver of orders. Since he is master, everyone is under his orders, and no one is above him to order him.
But when he finds that a pure devotee is ordering him, he obtains transcendental pleasure, although he is the infallible master in all circumstances. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Arjuna had no desire to fight with his cousins and brothers, but he was forced to come onto the battlefield by the obstinacy of Duryodhana, who was never agreeable to any peaceful negotiation.
Therefore, he was very anxious to see who the leading persons present on the battlefield were. Although there was no question of a peacemaking endeavor on the battlefield, he wanted to see them again and to see how much they were bent upon demanding an unwanted war.
So, who remembers that story where Lord Chaitanya approved of someone's method of reading Bhagavad Gita? Lord Chaitanya met someone who was reading Bhagavad Gita every day, and he said, I really like the way you're reading. Who knows that story?
Is that the one where the guy who was reading it was crying because he was impressed with Krishna's service?
Yeah, that Krishna was serving his devotee. And this person couldn't even read very good. Or Chaitanya Mongol is here. I better speak proper grammar. He couldn't read.
Wasn't he reading it upside down?
Well, usually devotees kind of stretch the story like that.
Embellishment.
Yeah, that's just a little embellishment, yes.
Okay.
But he said, Chaitanya Charitamrita, my guru told me to read Bhagavad Gita every day, the whole book. So I sit here and I read it. Sometimes I pronounce the words properly and sometimes not. I'm not very educated. And Lord Chaitanya asked him, but I see that you're crying when you're reading the book. What is it that you're getting from it? And so that's when he said, as soon as I pick up the book, I see a picture in my mind of Krishna driving the chariot for Arjuna. And when I think about how the Lord is serving his devotee, it brings tears to my eyes. So Lord Chaitanya, with tears in his eyes, embraced him and he said, I approve of your Bhagavad Gita reading. You are the real teacher of how to read Bhagavad Gita. So I had to point that out because that's the verse we just read. Arjuna saying, and Prabhupada would quote this, the Sanskrit. Sinayor ubayor matye ratam stapaya me chuta. Arjuna's ordering him, take my chariot between the two armies. So, and Prabhupada would use that as like, here's evidence that the devotee orders the Lord around and the Lord listens to the devotee and wants to carry out the orders. And that's what we read here. The relationship between the Lord and his servitor is very sweet and transcendental. The servitor is always ready to render service to the Lord. And similarly, the Lord is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to the devotee. He takes greater pleasure in his pure devotees assuming the advantageous position of ordering him than he does in being the giver of orders. Now, I've also heard that the way the chariot, but the guy riding the chariot and the charioteer, the way he communicates with the charioteer is with his feet. Like he's like sitting there with his knees touching Krishna's shoulders, and like he bonks him on one side. Okay, let's go that way. And then he bonks him with the other knee. Okay, let's go that way. And so like he is. He's touching Krishna with his feet and with his knees. He's like driving the driver. So it's like such an intimate kind of in such a deep life and death situation. And so here he is saying, come on, take my, he's ordering him. He doesn't say, please accept my respectful, if you would so kindly, he's just saying, take my chariot there. And Krishna's like, okay, he's taking him there. All right, next verse. Whose turn is it? Just read that last.
Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra.
All right, we'll go back into reading verses now. Trevor?
Okay. Sanjay said, O descendant of Bharata.
We lost you.
Yeah. O descendant of Bharata. Having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties.
In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here.
There Arjuna
Okay, so before we go on, out of all of the people that were there, he goes right, Krishna drives right in front of Bhishma and Drona. The Sanskrit is Bhishma, Drona, Pramukhata. Mukha means face, right in front of their faces, where Arjun could see. Those are the two main people that he really likes on the other side. So out of the, how many people did we say were there? 1.66 billion. Out of all of those people, Krishna pulls a chariot right up in front of Bhishma and Drona. And then he says, "Ah, look at all the Kurus. Look at all your family members." Let's read this purport. Let's go.
Read the purport.
Yeah, go ahead. 2 sentences, Heather.
As the super soul of all living entities, Lord Krishna could understand what was going on in the mind of Arjuna. The use of the word Harishikesh in this connection indicates that he knew everything.
And the word
And-
Partha,
Sorry.
it's cool. And the word Partha, meaning the son of Pritha or Kunti, is also similarly significant in reference to Arjuna. As a friend, he wanted to inform Arjuna that because Arjuna was the son of Pritha, the sister of his own father Vasudeva, he had agreed to be the charioteer of Arjuna.
Now, what did Krishna mean when he told Arjuna to behold the Kurus? Did Arjuna want to stop there and not fight?
Krishna never expected such things from the son of his aunt Pritha. The mind of Arjuna was thus predicted by the Lord in the mind of Arjuna was thus predicted by the Lord in friendly joking.
Okay, so they got this family thing going on. They're cousins. Did everybody know that? Krishna and Arjun are cousins. So who's Krishna's father?
Vasudeva.
Vasudeva. And who is Arjun's mother?
Kunti.
Yeah, Kunti, but Prita. Where does Prita come in? Is Prita another name for Kunti? I think we went through this once before.
Isn't that her husband? Like, isn't that Kunti's husband? And then, for a name for Arjun would be Prithu? I'm confused.
No, it's a woman's name, Prita. And that's how he gets the name Partha. Oh boy, opened up a question. Chaitanya Mangala, you got to know this one.
Oh, I don't know. I'm a plethora of ignorance tonight.
Plethora. At least you use big words when you do it.
only in self-mockery.
Okay. All right, that's what we need, are more plethoras in here. We just need different categories of plethoras. From the son of his aunt Kunti. All right, continue on. Next verse. I think, was that Eric that read last?
Okay. You're asking who Prithu is?
Partha.
Prita.
Okay, I don't know.
It says right in here that Prita is Krishna's aunt and the mother of Arjuna. Arjuna is the son of Prita, the sister of his own father, Vasudeva.
Okay. Do you want me to read the next verse?
All right. So Matthew, you want to read text 26? Yeah.
Okay. There Arjun could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers-in-law and well-wishers.
When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus.
Arjun said, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up."
Okay, the last two verses address Krishna by the son of his mother. He's Partha, he's the son of Pritha, and then he's the son of Kunti. I just noticed that. And so now, I don't know, maybe it's like kind of a literary thing just to say, here's this guy who was, the son of a mother and, kind of invoking this motherly kind of feelings around him. And so he's looking around and he's feeling kind of, I don't know, we might even say like childlike, like helpless. Okay, read the verse again.
Arjun said, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up."
Go ahead.
My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on end. My bow, Gandiva, is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning.
I'm now unable to stand here any longer. I'm forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon.
Before we go on, have any of you ever felt like this? Have you ever been in such a dangerous situation or faced such kind of dread that you can identify with what he's going through? You feel faint. You feel all the blood rushing. Well, I don't know. It's not where it's supposed to be. It's not in your head, or it's all in your head. Just everything feels wrong. The world's spinning. Body is trembling, hair standing on end. You're dropping things. Let's see. I can see only causes. Let's see. Did we read 30 yet?
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, there's two important things in 30. He says, "I'm forgetting myself." And that's something that he says at the end of chapter 18 when Krishna asks, "So have you heard everything? Have you understood this?" And he says, "Yes. Now I'm remembering myself. Now I've gotten my memory back." So this is something to point out. He's lost himself. He's lost track of who he is. And another point is, I see only causes of misfortune. Says, and he's going to give his speech. If we win, that's going to be bad. If we lose, that's going to be bad. This whole thing is bad. It's bad all the way around. I only see bad. I don't see any way to get any good out of this situation. Not long after this, Krishna is going to say, "I only see good." If you lose, that'll be good. If you win, that'll be good. If you get killed in battle, that's good for a Kshatriya. So Krishna just has a whole different perspective. Okay, next verse. Go ahead.
Just a quick thought. I've been
Yeah.
thinking about how this opening is a lot like some of the Western epics. The Iliad, there's a chapter where Helen names all of the Greek warriors from the turrets of Troy. And in Thomas Mallory's Mort d'Arthur, The Death of Arthur, they imitate that naming of the troops as well before a battle. And just this past, when you were reading text 30, I was thinking about Dante. We're talking about him forgetting and then remembering. I was thinking the opening of Dante's Divine Comedy, where he says, "Midway in our life's journey, I came to myself in a dark wood." And he also finds a companion. Granted, Virgil is not Krishna, but nonetheless, there's that same spiritual journey after this reeling experience that Dante has before he begins that spiritual journey to see the face of God. Anyway, just an interpolation. Text 31, I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness.
O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield. O Madhusudan, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra?
Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune, and how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen?
In the purport to that verse, Prabhupada lists 6 kinds of aggressors who, if you kill them, there's no sin incurred. And each one of these aggressors, the Kauravas have attacked them in those same ways. One, a poison giver. So they try poison Bhima. 2, one who sets fire to the house. Okay, they did that. Everybody knows that story. Built a special house that would burn quickly for the Pandavas to move into. And then they burned it down. The Pandavas knew in advance, they escaped. 3, one who attacks with deadly weapons. Okay, they've done that. 4, one who plunders riches. They took their whole kingdom away. One who occupies another's land. And 6, one who kidnaps a wife. So is there anything on that list that the Kauravas had not done to the Pandavas?
I can't think of. I think they did it all.
They did all 6 of them.
Yeah.
But that's Arjuna's kindness saying, sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. But according to the Manu Samhita, according to Vedic injunctions, it would have been just fine for him to kill those people. Such killing of aggressors is quite befitting any ordinary man, but Arjuna was not an ordinary person. He was saintly by character, and therefore he wanted to deal with them in saintliness. This kind of saintliness, however, is not for a kshatriya. Although a responsible man in the administration of a state is required to be saintly, he should not be cowardly. All right, so we'll leave that there. And let's go on to the next verse.
Okay, is that me?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And then Gabrielle will be after you. Are you with us, Gabrielle? Did you find us?
I think so. Next is 37 through 38.
Yeah.
Next. Okay.
Go ahead, Trevor.
O Janardhan, all these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends. Why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, into these acts of sin?
With the destruction of dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished. unless the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion.
My turn, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted. And from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny.
An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped.
By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated.
O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell.
Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts. Driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness, we are intent on killing our own kinsmen.
Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield.
Sanjay said, Arjun, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief.
Read the purport, Gabrielle.
While observing the situation of his enemy, Arjuna stood up on the chariot, but he was so afflicted with lamentation that he sat down again, setting aside his bow and arrows. Such a kind and soft-hearted person in the devotional service of the Lord is fit to receive self-knowledge.
Okay, so chapter 1 just kind of leaves us there. Usually I'll go on and read 8 or 10 more verses in chapter 2. How's everybody doing? You?
I gotta go.
I'm good.
Aw.
Sorry.
Oh,
Good
10
people.
more minutes, Heather.
Yeah, I can stay
10
for 10 more minutes.
Okay, yeah. Because it is kind of related. It's still Arjun's speech. Yeah, then that'll get us up to Krishna speaking. Okay, so Paul, go ahead. Text 1.
Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy.
Okay, we better pause here. Now, what did Arjun say? He brought out a lot of arguments against the war. Does anyone want to bring up some of the points he made?
One of his
Eric.
points was that even if he won the battle, he wouldn't be able to enjoy because he feels so full of suffering for everyone else not being there to enjoy with him.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, that was the main one. And Eric, what did you have?
Well, toward the end, wasn't he talking a lot about how if all of these people are killed, then their families will be effectively ruined, and thus society will kind of collapse on itself because there's no Kshatriyas to, do their job in, administering the society, and, all their families will be kind of in disarray.
Yeah, not just Kshatriyas, fathers and husbands and providers.
Family. Kind of your whole family or extended family.
Yeah, the whole family unit's broken up, and then you have single moms, which, boy, back in those times, it was really rough for a single mom. If you think it's hard now, it was really hard back then. Anything else? He gave some really strong industrial strength arguments against war. And it was a nice speech. And he said, yeah, I'm ready to just walk away from this. I don't want any part in this. These people, they see that it's wrong. Well, they don't see that it's wrong, but we do. So why should we engage in this? Because we know better. And then here's Krishna saying, where have these impurities come up? How have these impurities come upon you? They're not befitting a person who knows the progressive value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy. This just seems like, what? After that speech, you just think like Krishna would applaud him and say, yeah, that's good, because I'm all about peace and everybody getting along, right? Isn't Krishna all about that? God wants? Yes? Anybody?
One would think.
One would think, yeah, but really it seems like he's not doing a very good job of it. Gabrielle, go ahead.
Not necessarily. Krishna tells you to do what you're supposed to be doing and surrender the fruits of your labor to him. So if you're a Kshatriya, you're supposed to fight. So he's not necessarily, Krishna is not.
Yeah. We read a purport where Prabhupada brought that out. He said, these good qualities to be compassionate, but a Kshatriya on the battlefield, it's not right there. All right, so let's see what Krishna says. Text 3, Garrison.
O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy.
So is this calling him chastiser of the enemy? Is he like encouraging him, or is it like kind of in a joking, like, you know, he's elbowing him like, oh, chastiser of the enemy? Is he nudging him, or what do you think?
I think he's nudging him because Arjuna was known to be a fearless fighter, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he's reminding him, you know, this is your program.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like just being sarcastic, oh, chastiser of the enemy. He's like, come on, you're the chastiser of the enemy. They're counting on you. It was really, he played a big part in the battle. If he decided he wasn't going to fight, then they would just call it off. The Pandavas would just say, if Arjun's not fighting, then okay, forget it. He was such a major player in this. And here, wow, Krishna's like kind of verbally slapping him around. He's calling this a degrading impotence. Has anyone ever called you a degraded impotent?
Not really.
I think someone may have called me that a couple of times, and it didn't feel good. I mean, they didn't use those words, but you know, they told me, you're being a whip. Come on, you've got to do what needs to be done. Give up this degrading. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise. Has anyone ever told you to do that? Give up your petty weakness of heart and arise. And you ever had a friend that could say something like that to you? Like, look, you're doing the wrong thing, and it's caused by your weakness of heart, and you know better than this. So I see a few people nodding their heads. So not just me. It's nice to have friends like that that can say things like that. Let's read this purport. Garrison just read, so Chaitanya.
Okay. Arjuna was addressed as the son of Pritha, who happened to be the sister of Krishna's father Vasudeva. Therefore, Arjuna had a blood relationship with Krishna.
If the son of a Kshatriya declines to fight, he is a Kshatriya in name only. And if the son of a Brahmin acts impiously, he is a Brahmin in name only. Such Kshatriyas and Brahmins are unworthy sons of their fathers. Therefore, Krishna did not want Arjuna to become an unworthy son of a Kshatriya.
Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on the chariot. But in spite of all these credits, if Arjuna abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna said that such an attitude in Arjuna did not fit his personality.
Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle on the grounds of his magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relatives, but Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity mere weakness of heart. One.
So Chaitanya and Mangala, translate magnanimity for us. What does that word?
Big-spirited, big-hearted. Magna, big, and animus, spirit, or soul.
Ah, okay. I've always heard it, I kind of figured it meant like charitable.
It can mean that, but that also is big-spirited. It's,
Uh-huh.
but
Cool.
the etymology is magnus, big, great. Animus can mean either soul or spirit, or even a state of feeling. So,
Okay. As Prabhupada uses that word, how many times here? 3, 4 times in the purport.
mm-hmm.
All right. Did we finish?
The opposite word for magnanimity would be pusillanimity. Not used too often.
What is Pusil?
Pusillanimous.
Pusillanimous.
P-U-S-I-L-L-A and then animus. So
Pusil.
that's for your next SAT exam. So.
No, I'm going to use that next time I'm driving, and I
something W.C. Fields might have used at a bar. Why, you're a pusillanimous creature, aren't you?
and they would think they're being flattered. But, but here Prabhupada's saying false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. So that's false magnanimity. Okay, Gabrielle, I think it's your turn to finish off the purport.
Such false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. Therefore, such magnanimity, or so-called violence, should be given up by persons like Arjuna and the direct guidance of Krishna.
So-called nonviolence, so-called magnanimity, false magnanimity, pusillanimity. All right, next verse. Let's hear what Arjuna says. Paul.
Arjuna said, "O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle, like in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship?"
It would be better to live in this world of begging than to live at the costly lives of great souls, who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, we are superior. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood.
Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we killed the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live, yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me.
So tomorrow night we'll come back. We'll start on this verse and we'll read the purport. Let's read a few more verses just to get Arjun's speech completed.
I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven.
Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjun, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent.
Okay, two more verses. Go ahead.
O descendant of Bharat, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjun.
Gabrielle?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor the dead.
All right. So that introduces tomorrow night's section about not lamenting. Congratulations, everybody. We've completed a chapter of Gita, and we've got 17 more to go. This one chapter 2, we're going to spend 2 nights on because it's so big. We don't want to rush through it. We will have to rush through to complete it in 2 nights. And so if you're so inclined, stay with us, and it'll take us 20 of these sessions, and we'll complete the whole Bhagavad Gita in good company.
Thank you.